On the way back to the ship, Axe and Estrid spy Rachel and Grizzly Morph, tearing up the McDonald's with a Yerkpool entrance introduced in number 17, The Underground. They fly to the barn and witness another scene of the Animorphs being completely broken. Cassie pleading with Marco and Jake to help her stop Rachel, and the two boys just hanging their heads in defeat. The two finally return to the ship, and Axe is given first watch over the bridge. He's told not to touch anything, so naturally the first thing he does once he's all alone is mess around with the onboard computer. But everything is encrypted. Aloth captures him in the act, but instead of reporting him, Aloth decides to spill the beans. He and Gonrod are not Andalite officers, but prisoners, offered a pardon if they complete this mission. Gonrod is a deserter, running away from his post due to cowardice. And Aloth? The guy harvested organs off the battlefield, which is shady enough before you realize that his day job was as a sniper, a coward and a murderer. Both Andalite officers. Were these my own kind? The next morning, Unit Zero puts things into motion. They bring the cloaked ship over to the community center and plan out a two-pronged attack, with Aloth and Arbit coming from one direction and Gonrod and Axe coming from another, Estrid staying aboard the ship. Arbit insists in getting in the first shot, despite Aloth being the actual sniper here, but Aloth agrees. They leave the ship and take out some guards, making their way into the center meeting room, where Visor 3 in Human Morph is giving a speech. Unit 0 takes their places, and Arbit makes his shot. And misses. An easy shot. An amateur marksman could have hit Visor 3. It was an intentional miss. Visor 3 takes cover, and the other Yerks in the room enter battle stations, Hork-Bajir pouring into the room. Unit 0 makes a run for it. Gonrod more so, because he's basically the Andalite Cowardly Lion, but Aloth takes a nasty hit from Hork-Bajir. Axe runs up to him to rescue him, but Aloth was hurt. Badly. But he could survive. All he needed was room so he could get up. And out. The Hork-Bajir began to retreat. With one stock eye, I watched Aloth climb to his feet. Tshoo! Aloth sank to the floor. He was dead. Shot cleanly through the head. By Arbit. An accident? No. Impossible. The rest make it back to the ship, and Axe confronts Arbit, who insists that Aloth couldn't make it and had to be killed so that the Yerks didn't get another Andalite body. Arbit starts throwing his weight around, insisting that they need to strike the Yerkpool, and uses his political connections into threatening Gonrod into accepting this. They park the ship for the night, and Axe manages to slip out for a bit. He returns in time for his watch on the bridge, but he's not alone. He managed to smuggle Mr. King in to help break the computer's encryption. They find fake death reports for Arbit, Gonrod, and Aloth, supposedly killed in a space battle nowhere near here, and Estrid has no file whatsoever. Axe puts the pieces together and realizes that this is a suicide mission, and Arbit may be the only one in on that fact. Mr. King leaves, and Axe starts exploring more of the ship, including its second tier, which he was told was gutted of its scientific equipment and is now empty. Well, it's not quite empty, as Axe discovers Estrid poring over some beakers and microscopes. Axe manages to get a hold of a sealed vial and threatens to open it if Estrid doesn't tell him what's going on, so she spills. She is not a part of the military, but instead a prodigy and student of Arbit back at the academy. There, she made a breakthrough in particle science that could create a programmable virus that could directly attack the Yerks. Of course, the quantum virus did the same thing, and had been effectively outlawed after its use on the Hork-Bajir homeworld. But if you accidentally invent a different thing with the exact same effect, welcome to Loophole City! Gonrod and Aloth were hired as expendables, duped into thinking this was about the assassination of Visor 3, when in reality this is a bit of Black Ops germ warfare. And yes, this virus will also kill humans, so if this gets out, Earth is pretty much fucked. That's when Arbit comes in with a shredder, no longer able to lie his way out of Axe's accusations. Estrid focused her main R's on Arbit. "Is it true what Eximali says?" she asked. Arbit glared at us both, but then his face softened when he looked at Estrid. "Yes, I am truly sorry. I have deceived you. If it is any comfort, it was to protect you." "Protect me? From what? You brought me here to die." "To protect you from history's judgments," he said, his voice thick with emotion. The people must be led by the few who are willing to make the very hard choices. The people are happy in their ignorance, but we in the apex level cannot allow ourselves to be sentimental. Arbit traps Axe and Estrid in a laser prison, because this is science fiction, so of course it's a laser prison, and he leaves with the virus in hand, intent to attack the Yerkpool right now. Estrid is distraught over Arbit's deception, but we're not done pulling the rug out from under her yet. She took my hands. I did not tell Arbit about your friends, but I did not have to. He was in the barn too, in a bird morph. Yes, I know, I answered. Her stock eyes whipped around in amazement. You knew? I nodded. We all knew, or at least suspected. Marco walked calmly into view. Hey, Axeman, you're looking slightly trapped. Where are the others? Marco made a sweeping gesture encompassing the lab. We're here. Place is crawling with Animorphs. Literally. In various places, human forms were growing up out of tiny points. Flea morph, fly morph, roach morph. Cassie and Rachel and Prince Jake. Yup, all that fighting and breaking up and going on rampages and stuff, all a massive deception to give Axe the perfect scenario for why he might leave the Animorphs and join Unit Zero. This is a sting operation, motherfucker. This is what I was talking about when I said Kimberly Morris changed up the structure. All these books have been narrated from the first person, but besides the usual opening bits about withholding last names and locations, these accounts are always presumed completely correct. This marks the first, and I think only time, that an Animorphs book has had an unreliable narrator. Axe is not only out to deceive Unit Zero, but the reader as well. And it works. There is no hint at all that this infighting isn't genuine. We saw just as much fighting and just as much of the team breaking apart in the last book. And while I'm sure readers assumed the Animorphs would get back together at the end, the fact that all this was acting does come as a real surprise. Is that a good thing? Yeah, I'd say unreliable narrators would have seriously hurt the series if it kept happening, but just this once, I'm cool with it. Estrid looked at me, half amazed, half angry. It was all a deception. You misled us. You lied to your own people. I shook my head. No, I have learned something, Estrid. These are my people. Anyone who believes in freedom, anyone who resists tyranny, anyone who pursues peace is my people. Andalite, Hork-Bajir, or human. Yeah, Marco said. Besides, we humans make a mean cinnamon bun. I laughed. That is definitely true. So the Animorphs and Estrid chase Arbit to the Yerkpool, using an entrance at the community center. This is the pampered Estrid's first time in a Yerkpool, and she is taken aback by the horror of it all. Axe spots Arbit in his human morph, constantly shifting around because he no longer has 360-degree vision, and he's approaching the pool with the virus in hand. Estrid blows their cover by calling to him, so Arbit grabs a weapon off a Hork-Bajir and starts firing on the Animorphs. Axe creates more confusion by yelling that the Andalite bandits have morphed Hork-Bajir, while the rest of the Animorphs instead switch to combat morphs. Estrid is freaking out. Estrid, demorph! They will kill us! She was frightened deep down inside, frightened in a way that was erasing any thought but the screaming, desperate need to live. I knew the feeling. We have to stop Arbit, and we need firepower, I said. Why? To save these filthy Yerks? Look what they do. Look at what they are. They are going to do that to us, Eximli. They are going to drag us down that pier, and they will force us... No, kill them all. Estrid, you said the virus may mutate. You said it might affect humans as well. Might, maybe, but maybe I fixed it. Maybe my last adjustments eliminated the random flux. I do not care. They are not our people. I am not going to let the filthy slugs do that to me. I was half demorphed. Stay here, I said. Stay low. Do not move. Do not leave me. Estrid, you are beautiful. You are brilliant. But I really do not think I like you very much. Hork-Bajir swarmed in. They seem to do that a lot, and they try to take aim at the bandits, but some freed humans wind up making a human shield between the two opponents. The Hork-Bajir need orders to fire on hosts, and for once, Visitor 3 is not there. Arbit gets back to the pier and prepares to release the virus, but Estrid finally gets some Nickelodeon guts and disintegrates his hand in the vial with a stolen Dracon beam. Injured, Arbit suddenly finds himself on the menu of a taxon, and that's it for Arbit. Well, that's that problem solved, but the Animorphs are still in the middle of the Yerk pool fighting for their lives. That's when Gonrod shows up, burning the science vessel through the roof and airlifting the Animorphs out of there. Looks like Gonrod has finally found his courage. If I were king of the forest. So Estrid and Gonrod prepare to leave Earth and face whatever comes next. Axe gives Estrid a cinnamon bun as a going-away gift, insisting that his fight is here, and he still doesn't really like Estrid that much, rejecting that Andalite idealism outright. But that might not be entirely true or fair. Estrid is foolish and as xenophobic as the next Andalite, but she's young, raised by the elite, isolated in studies, untrained for war, unexperienced in the horrors of it. Axe might have been a lot like that himself had he not been stranded on Earth. And when the ship takes off and Axe once again finds himself as the last Andalite on Earth, he finds a private place, and he weeps. Post-book follow-up. As inferred, this book is the third of a thematic trilogy, along with number 8, The Alien, and number 18, The Decision, in which the Andalites are fleshed out and given serious shades of gray. When the series started, they were seen as the avenging angels on high who had come down when the time was right and rid the world of evil. There was almost a biblical perception of the Andalites at first. Number 8, The Alien, showed us the skeletons in the Andalites' closet. Number 18, The Decision, showed us Andalites who have fallen off the path. And this book puts the final nail in the coffin, taking away that promise of rescue from the Animorphs and giving us 4 examples of the worst of Andalite society: cowardice, ruthlessness, naivete, and outright psycho. And for the first time, it's Axe that comes from a position of enlightenment, bringing his character journey full circle. We see here an Axe that is more accepting of other races and cultures, an Axe that knows the value of friendship, of individualism, and he knows the faults of blind patriotism and jingoism. This is an Axe wiser than any Andalite we've ever seen. Too bad he's going to forget all that and become an asshole again in 2 books. Anyway, this is a very solid book. It feels very familiar, with Kimberly Morris doing a great job in imitating Kay Applegate's style, but with enough new there to make it stand out. I'm definitely going to watch some Thundercats after this. Still, it's not perfect. While I don't think Estrid fits into the Mary Sue mold, she does work better as a metaphor than as an actual character, and the ongoing list of things she's absolutely best at does inspire some "oh, come on" reactions. Just being related to people good at something does not mean you will also be good at something. My mom is great at sewing, my sister does some fantastic animation, and I just suck at both. Still, I think more could have been done with Estrid, but alas, she's another one-and-done memorable guest character. Arbit could have used a little more fleshing out, but it was nice to see other Chi besides Eric get involved with the plot, and Visor 3 seems properly menacing in this book. All in all, a few things that could have been tweaked, but otherwise a solid book. I give number 38, The Arrival, an 8 out of 10. So, what's the next book on the list? Oh God.